Hello students, very warm welcome everyone to the Extramarks YouTube channel. I hope all of you are doing really well today. Very good evening and very warm welcome. My name is Gargi Parashar students and I'll be discussing the question paper of CBSE, right, standard 10th that just happened today morning, right. So I hope all the students who have appeared for the paper have joined the session today in order to know what are the correct answers to the questions that have appeared in the exam. So first tell me students, how did you find the paper? Did you like the paper? Did you enjoy doing the paper? Was it easy? Was it lengthy? Please tell me in the chat box, please let me know that how did you find the paper this time? Anybody who would like to add a comment or say anything regarding the paper? According to me students, to be really honest, I have been seeing the CBSE papers for a very long time. I think paper was not that difficult, neither very lengthy, right? So I think CBSE has been lenient with us in the social sciences paper especially, right? So today what we'll do, we'll just cover the questions that have appeared, right? And we'll be doing one set, another two sets. I'll be discussing the questions for those also, right, by the end of the session. So I hope students, all of you are excited to know whether we have done, well in the exams or not. And I'm sure that most of you have, right? Let us proceed. Let us go to the first question. If anybody wants to ask any questions or has any queries, they can post in the comment section and we'll be answering those questions and queries. And I would like all of you who have joined the session today to focus on the answers to the questions that have appeared, right? So this is a set 3 actually that I'm going to solve students, and then I'll be telling you the questions from the set 2 and set 1 as well. There were some questions that were different in set 1 and some other questions that were different in set 2, although most of the questions were common. So I have picked up set 3 first of all. Let us discuss the questions of set 3. Now the first question of the section A, I think section A students is the easiest of all, right? We all agree these are 2 marker questions, and these questions are, to be really honest, these are very easy questions. The questions that we had also predicted. If you had attended our mock session students, we had done a CBSE mock test paper, and there we had discussed about these questions that have finally appeared in the CBSE exam. So these are almost the same questions over here. The first question is, why was a militant guerrilla movement spread in the Jute hills of Andhra Pradesh in early 1920s, right? We have studied extensively students in the nationalism chapter about the non-cooperation movement and the spread of the non-cooperation movement in different areas and different parts of the country and how differently it was received. One of the great examples is the Jute hills of Andhra Pradesh. So very simply we'll answer this question. This is of course a 2-marker question, so we don't have to elaborate much upon it. We just have to give the basic points. What is the basic point? The basic point is that in the Jute hills of Andhra Pradesh, a militant guerrilla movement spread in the early 1920s, of course, and this movement was very different from the non-cooperation movement as proposed by Mahatma Gandhi, right? And that is the whole idea of the non-cooperation movement students that we have studied, that people in different parts of the country actually perceived this movement in a very different manner. There we have taken the example of Assam, and of course this example is of course there, right? Now yet the inspiration was coming from Gandhiji's non-cooperation movement, but the issues were very different and they were very unique in this sense, right? And here in the Jute hills, what were the people protesting against? They were protesting against the British forest laws, right? And that is how the movement, the guerrilla movement started in this part of the country, right? That would be the answer to the question. Now second question, again this is a question that we had discussed in the mock paper. Just wanted to remind you, if if you have watched it, we had put this question also. How do double coincidence of wants arise, right? This is the easiest question from economics that can be asked in 2-marker question students, and it has been. So what is double coincidence of wants? We have studied it in the Barter system, right? And we very well know that this occurs when the seller and the buyer have agreed to sell and buy their products, their commodities to each other. So in the barter system, one of the challenges of the barter system, students, is this double coincidence of wants. It has to occur, then only barter exchange is possible, right? So that is the definition. Now goods are of course exchanged directly without the use of money, without the use of any medium of exchange, right, as it is done in the barter system. So that will be double coincidence of wants, right? Absolutely easy. Do you all agree? Very, very good evening, students who are joining the YouTube session, YouTube live session over here. I hope all of your papers were really good, and I hope you enjoyed doing the papers. So we are discussing the question answers. We have come to question number 2. Now let us proceed, students, to the question number 3. Again, very easy question from economics. Classify industries on the basis of capital investment. Right? So we have done classification, we have studied very well the classification of industries, right? Okay, and this is of course a very good question from the geography section. Now on the basis of capital investment, industries can be classified in 2 categories, right? There are 2 categories. First is small scale industry and the other is large scale industry. That is the qualification that we have. A small scale industry is different from a large scale industry in terms of the investment that is done, the capital investment that is done. Okay, so we have studied this very well, that the amount of investment in both these categories differs a lot, right? In the small scale industry, of course, the investment is going to be less, and in the larger scale industry, the investment is going to be more, and that is a classification that we do on the basis of capital investment. That would be the answer. This is a 2-marker question, students. We don't have to elaborate much. We don't have to think about it much. We don't have to write much, right? We are very good, very good. Now let us move to question number 4. Explain the importance of national highways in India. National highways, how are they important? Why are they important? That is the question, students. Now the answer to that question is that national highways in India actually are the the highways, the roads that connect one part of the country to another, right? Actually, they connect the length and breadth of India. That can also be a sentence that you can use, the first sentence in the answer. National highways link extreme parts of the country, or they link the lengths and breadth of this country. These are the primary road systems that are laid and maintained by the Central Public Work Department, right? So that would be the answer to this question. This is again a very simple question, okay? And we have answered it. We had also discussed it before as well. Now, how is one-party system different from two-party system? Explain with examples. Now, I don't know whether you guys, enjoy this question or not, but the questions with examples generally intimidate us. But this is a very simple question, so I don't think it was very much intimidating. But maybe some of us tend to forget the example part. But the question is, of course, very simple again. It is asking the difference between the one-party system and two-party system. Now the answer itself is in the question, right? One-party system actually is a system where in a country where there is only one party exists, right? And can you give me some examples in the chat box, students, or the examples that you have given in the exam, right? And I have here taken the example of China. It is a great example of a one-party system where there is only Chinese Communist Party that is allowed to rule, and no other party has the right to contest elections or to participate in the electoral process. That is only one-party system. So one-party system is basically, if there is any question on these kinds of terms, students, which is a self-explanatory term, isn't it? Right? We don't have to think much about it. It is self-explanatory in the sense that we can easily understand it. Then the two-party system is of course there, where two main parties are there, isn't it? Like for example, here I have taken the example of United States of America, Republican and Democratic. These are the two parties that are existing there, and they actually contest the elections, and the one who wins the majority forms the government, right? So generally it keeps happening that it changes every 4 years, Republican, then Democratic, and it keeps on happening like that, right? So this is the answer, very simple and plain. In the examples part, you can take the example of China and USA. You can tell me which examples you have taken, but these are the easiest ones, so I have given over here. Now section B. So section B, students, is, I think, right? Yes. Now section B, I think, is very, a section which we generally feel little, underconfident about, because here are marks increases and the question's difficulty also increases a little bit. But let us see what is the first question. The first question is why, that is question 6A actually. Okay, first question of section B, question 6A actually, why did Mahatma Gandhi decide to withdraw the non-cooperation movement in February 1922, right? So this is again one of the most popular questions, isn't it, students, right? We have all attempted this question in our mock papers, in our sample papers, and obviously it has occurred before, previously also it has occurred many times in the CBSE examination. So the answer to this question will be that Gandhiji decided to withdraw the non-cooperation movement due to various incidents of violence, okay, and particularly the incident that happened at Chauri Chaura, right, in the Uttar Pradesh, in the state of Uttar Pradesh in 1922. Right, we all are aware about Chauri Chaura. It is a very important turning point in the national movement, where we see that a group of people clashed with police at Chauri Chaura and set a police station on fire, and that led to the killing of a large number of policemen and other people also. Now Gandhiji was you can say a stringent follower of non-violence and Satyagraha. So for him, this kind of violent incident was really shocking. Okay, it was really something which he could not, accept, and therefore he decided that the non-cooperation movement should be withdrawn. And the logic that he gave students is that the people are yet not ready for such a non-violent movement and for such a Satyagraha. Okay, so that is how the non-cooperation movement was withdrawn in 1922. That would be the answer. So if you have given any answers, if you have given answer anything close to this, then you are on the safer side, right? Answers don't have to be exact sentences that I am giving here, but the points have to be same, right? The points cannot be different, right, students? Now this question had a or question also. So very good. If you did not attempt this A question, then you must have attempted the B part. What is the B question? How did First World War create a new economic situation in India? Both the questions, students, from the nationalism chapter. As you know, this is the only chapter that carries a lot of weight in the history part as well. So again, a question from the same chapter. Now what is the answer to that question, students? The First World War that happened in 1914. Sometimes adding dates helps, right? You can, if you want, you can, just to make your answers little more impressive and beautiful, and it is a eye catcher for the teacher also. But anyway, that does not matter much here. The First World War created a new economic situation in India. Why? How? It led to a huge increase in defense expenditure, students. Okay, British were of course using our resources for that purpose. Custom duties were raised, income tax was introduced to finance the war, students, in this particular period, and villages were called upon to supply the soldiers, and the forced recruitment was happening in the rural areas. Okay, people in the rural areas, they were being forced to work for the British Army to fight in this particular war that the Britain was fighting in Europe, right? So these are the impacts that we see: increased taxes, increased custom duties. We also see, students, that in this particular period, you could have added this point also, that in this particular period we also observe that many of the industries started developing in India. Like for example, for the steel industry, you can say, for the cotton industry, this was a really good period. Have you heard about TISCO, right, students? We have heard about it, we have studied about it. This is a time period when Indian British are actually falling short of the supplies for steel and cotton, and this has led to British actually importing a lot of cotton from our country. And in this period, it was a really good period for steel industry in India and cotton industry in India. So that could also be one of the points in your answer. Now question number 7, students, democratic governments are transparent and legitimate. Justify the statement, right? So how many students have attempted this particular question? I think many students. Very good, very good. So yes, now this is a very simple question. Again, I would say students, but you'll say that ma'am, you're saying all the questions are simple. But what to say, students? Of course, this paper was really really good paper, and I'm sure that all of you had studied hard, must have enjoyed doing this paper. What will be the answer to this? The democratic government ensures transparency by making sure the decision making will be based on norms and procedure. The government in a democratic system, students, has to rule according to the law of the land, which is constitution, and has to abide by or has to take into account the rights of citizen, right? So so a citizen who wants to know if a decision was taken through the correct procedure and they can find it out in a democratic government. Okay, so basically democratic government ensures transparency because there is a rule and procedure for doing everything, and the citizen can find out whether a decision was taken by following all the correct procedures and the rules, right, students? So that is the first point. Now in a democracy, people have the right to choose their rulers. You all know that? You all know the definition of democracy, I don't need to repeat it. And people will have control over them. People control the government also, and whenever possible and necessary, citizens should be able to participate in the decision making process. That is the whole point of democracy, students, that it gives the power to people to participate in the decision making process, right? And they do it through various ways. Elections is one of the examples. So the democratic governments become more legitimate because of this, right? They become legitimate because it is the people who are electing these leaders. It is the people who are electing this government, and the government is ruling on the behalf of the people, right? And if the people want, they can change the government also. So that makes the government more legitimate, and that is why democratic political system has more widespread you can say acceptability around the world. So it is a possibility that some people might criticize democracy due to several reasons, but it is the most popular form of government in the entire world. Okay, so that is what we have to answer in this question. Is it clear? Any yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, students. I hope all of you are understanding, and I hope everything is clear. Okay. Now moving on, students, to question number 8. Explain the 3 important terms of credit. 3 important terms of credit we have to explain, and this is exactly a question from our a portion of NCERT which is talking about the credit, and what will be the answer? Very simple, students. 4 terms of credit, you can write any 3 also. So I have written over 4 points. Any of the 3 will work because here they are asking only 3 important terms, right? So I have written 4. The first one, students, is the interest rate. Okay, so interest rate is the amount that is paid in addition to the principal amount that the borrower has taken from the lender. Very simple, that is one of the terms. What is another? Collateral. Collateral is an asset, students, that the borrower owns. So it can be land, it can be any other form of property, it can be a vehicle, livestock, any other thing, students, that the borrower actually deposits as a guarantee to the lender until the loan is paid. Okay, until it is repaid. Okay, so this is the answer. This is the second point. This can also be part of our answer. The third, students, is documentation requirement. Okay, so you could have added this point also. It is the process under which the lender verifies the eligibility and all the details of the borrowers. Right, students? Documentation is a very, very important part of terms of credit, and it verifies collateral related documents also. Okay, so that is there. Then D could also be a point. Okay, so you only have to write 3, any of the 3 would work. Mode of payment. So under this, the number of installments and the gap between 2 installments is agreed upon, and whether a loan is repaid in the form of cash or check or any other mode, that is decided upon. That is a important term of credit. So any 3 would work, right? Is it clear? Very good. Now question number 9A. Question number 9, students, was one of those questions which had options, okay, which had this or that. So the first part, the A part of question number 9 is examine any 5 major challenges faced by political parties in India. Right, students? So this is, although a little lengthy question, no doubt about it, but still a very, very easy question, because a big portion of our chapter actually talks about this, and there are many points that we can write about. I have given some 5 points over here as the answer. Let us see. So the first is internal democracy is lacking in the political parties currently in India. That is one of the challenges, one of the problems faced by the political parties, right, students? Okay. The other is dynastic succession. In many of the political parties, many of the national, regional political parties of India, dynastic succession is one of the problems. That could be the second point, right? This is the first, this is the second point. Okay, all the political parties, all the positions, that are important positions, students, in a political party, they tend to go to the family members. Okay, and that is the dynastic succession that is being followed by many of these political parties. That is one of the challenges. Then money power. We have very well, seen this around us also, and we have studied about it also, that how money power, students, plays a vital role in influencing people's votes. Right, and the use of so much money, so many resources during the electoral process actually undermines, the fairness of the electoral process, right? So therefore, that is one of the things. Then muscle power. Sometimes the political parties also try to use the muscle power, in the sense that they use many of the strong men that are there in that particular region, in the towns, in the villages, to influence the way people vote. Right, students? So that is another thing, that is another challenge. Then we have 5th point, no meaningful choice for the people are there. Why? Let us understand that this is an important point. The fundamental and the ideological issues that most of the political parties, put up are almost the same. And there is no significant choice, in the sense, students, that they are not very apart from each other. Right, in terms of their policies, in terms of their decision making process, in terms of their ideas also, they are not very different, and even the leaders are seen switching parties very frequently. You'll see that just before the elections, the leader often switches party. So that shows that there is actually no meaningful choice. On the face of it, it appears that there are so many political parties because India is a multi-party democracy, but in actual, all of them have lot of similarities, and then there is a switching of political leaders from this political party to that, right? Is it clear? I hope it is clear, students. Very good. So we have discussed enough about this. This is the first part. Now there is a or question in question number 9, which is B part. Political parties play an important role in democratic countries. Again, the question from the same chapter, students, right? Now, what is the answer? Political parties are vital for a democracy because parties compete in elections. Okay, that competition, that electoral competition is very healthy for any democracy, and that is why most of the elections in democratic countries across the world are fought among the representatives of the political parties, right? So that could be the first point. The parties present a variety of policies and programs for the people. It makes the political parties actually make it easy for the people to understand what kind of idea do they agree to, what kind of government do they want, and they can choose from them very easily. The third point is parties play an important role in countries' legislative process. Okay, so we have understood this very well, students, right, through our political system, that it is a possibility that only one political party forms the government and becomes the ruling party. However, other political parties in the parliament, they act as the opposition parties that we call them, they act as a very, very important part in the legislative process. They also tend to, check the government's power. They also tend to, make sure that the government remains responsible and accountable to the people. So there also parties play a very important role. Now, political parties also tend to influence public opinion, right? This is again a very, very significant point that you could have added. They bring up and emphasize the important issues concerning the people. Right. So, this could be local issues, students, these could be regional issues, these could also be national issues. And that is an important role, and that helps people to realize their needs, their requirements, and then the people can take more informed decisions. So that is why in democratic countries, political parties are very important. Is it clear, students? Very good, very good. So I think this was, again, the question number 9 was really interesting. Now, moving forward, of course, opposition, they play a role of opposition that I have already explained, right? Now, question number 10A, again, here, if you look at the question, seems like a little lengthy question. Let us see. Examine the steps taken by the central government and the state governments to attract foreign investment in India, right? So let us see how we can answer it in points and in a really good way. Now, the Indian government, students, yeah, okay. So now Indian government, here the questions are, of course, 5-mark questions, right? And here it appears that we have to write a lot of things, but let us see. The Indian government has taken various measures. What are these? Let us see. The government has established special economic zone or SEZs, which are also called as industrial zones, right, students? And electricity, water, roads, storage, recreational, educational facilities, all are available in these regions. So that is one thing. Now, another point is companies that establish production units in the SEZs are exempt from paying taxes for the first 5 years, right? Is it clear? So that could be our second point. The government has also made labor regulations more flexible. That is a very important step that the government has taken, and this is especially very good for the international businesses, right? And the companies can now flexibly reduce the workers' numbers for a brief period of time when there is high work pressure, right? Is it clear? Yes, and this is done with the help of, this actually, when this is done, this helps the businesses to lower their labor cost, which goes in their favor. So that is also one of the points we can write about. Now, moving to question number 10, part B, students, let us see what is the OR question. Examine the impact of globalization in India, right? What is the impact of globalization? Now, there is a big portion in this chapter, students, where we have studied about globalization, how it is as a phenomena and what is its impact. So let us understand. Now, impact of globalization on Indian economy, first thing, students, foreign investments. In terms of FDI, FII, all these ways of coming investment in our country has been, has happened because of the globalization, right? New job creation has happened, right? So globalization has resulted in the creation of many new jobs which have helped the reduction of unemployment rate, right? Because many of the multinational companies, many other companies from around the world are coming into India, setting up their factories, employing a large number of Indian people. So that is one of the things, providing employment. Now in India, a variety of accounting and administrative work, data entry work or engineering duties have actually been performed at a lower cost. So these companies also, which are multinational companies, they outsource these kinds of work to our country, and that has been a major impact. BPO is a great example of that, students, right? Where the companies outsource these kinds of works to, developing nations like India because of the lower labor cost, right? So that is one answer. Then new opportunities have been provided in terms of, especially in terms of the economic impact of globalization, students, we see that globalization has opened up new chances for Indian businesses also. Right? It's not only foreign businesses coming in India, foreign companies coming in India, but also Indian businesses, particularly that provide services to the IT firms, right? So that is important. Now, growth of Indian enterprises as international corporations. So that also is very important. Okay, that could be added as a point over here. Like for example, companies like Infosys, Ranbaxy, students, or Tata Motors, they have benefited greatly because of the competition brought by globalization. Right? Is it clear to everyone? If something is not clear, you could let me know, students, in the comment box, and then I'll clear it. Right? Now moving again, question number 11, students, section D. Now section D is case study based questions are there, and we have to answer the questions on that basis. Let us see. So first, this is the case study. Okay, I am sure you must have read it. Okay, so I am not going to read every line of it. Let us see what was the answer. This is a case study of the jute industry, right? So you can read it in your own papers if you have it in your hand, and I'll just discuss the answers. Okay, so first question that is asked on the basis of this case study is mention any two challenges faced by jute industry in India. That is a 1-marker question. What is the answer to this question? The answer to this question, students, is stiff competition in the international market from synthetic substitutes, and then we can also write supply competition from other jute producing nations like Bangladesh, which is emerging as a major jute producer, Brazil, Philippines, Egypt, and Thailand. Okay, so that could be the answer. Again, question number 2, what was the main objective of national jute policy formulated in 2005? That is also a 1-marker question, students. Okay, what will be the answer to that? The major objective of national jute policy in 2005 was to increase jute productivity, obviously, to improve quality, right, and to ensure good prices to the jute farmers, right, and enhance the yield per capita hectare. So you could write, you don't have to write all these 4 points. It's not very necessary. You could write 3 points also, because it's a 1-marker question. I have just included these points, students, just to give you an idea that any of these points you have mentioned, you are safe. Right? So that is there. Now question number 11.3, right? This is a 2-marker question. How has jute industry once again opened the new opportunities for its products? This is a good question, right? Isn't it? Now the answer to this question is the growing global concern for environment friendly biodegradable materials has opened up big opportunities for the jute products and the jute industry. It is currently, students, called as the golden fiber, and it is believed that the jute industry is going to expand exponentially in the coming years because of these factors, right? Because of its biodegradable nature, more environment friendly nature, and as it is going to act as a substitute for the plastic products and many other kinds of products. So that is going to be the future of the jute industry. So that is the new opportunities that are going to open up. That is the answer. I hope it is clear. Yes. Now moving forward, students, to the next part, which is question number 12. Okay. Now question number 12, again a case study based question, Mahatma Gandhi's thoughts on Satyagraha. This is a case study over here. Again, I am not going to read it, students, so please read it, and you must be having the question paper. Please have a look at it. Let us solve the questions. Okay. Now, what type of movement Gandhiji organized in South Africa? Again, 1-marker question, students. Very simple question. What type of movement it is asking? What is the question? What type of movement? What will be the answer? Satyagraha. Simple. It is 1-marker question. It is looking for only one word. That is Satyagraha. Okay, if you write the word Satyagraha, however you are going to construct the statement, it does not matter. Answer is Gandhiji organized the Satyagraha movement in South Africa. It was an active resistance movement. That is all that we have to understand. Question number 12.2. Again, 1 marker. Why is Satyagraha considered as pure soul force? So now these big words are going to maybe intimidate you, pure soul force, but it is a very simple question, students. Again, the answer is that Satyagraha is pure soul, it is considered as pure soul force as no physical force is going to be applied when Satyagraha happens, when Satyagraha movement take place. That was the whole idea, behind Satyagraha. That was the idea of Mahatma Gandhi. So that is the answer. Can you see? This is a very simple answer because no physical force is required in truth and non-violence, and they are the very substance of the human soul, and that was a belief held very close by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, so that is what he believed in. Question number 12.3. This is again a 2-marker question, students, and it is again, how has Gandhiji described a passive resistance? So the answer is very, over there. If you study, if you read the case study part, you will be able to find the answer very well over there. Now, Gandhiji has described passive resistance as a weapon of weak. Okay, now which will not be able to bring the desired results. Gandhiji has regarded Satyagraha as more dynamic than mere passive resistance. That is the idea, right? And it is basically, he believes that Satyagraha is constructive mass action and not just passive resistance. That is the answer. Now we come to section E, our very last section, students, and this is of course, these are map based questions. So, these are the question number 13.1 first we will take up, and I will show you the right location. I hope you have marked it correctly in the exam also, and these are 3 marks questions over there. Now on the given outline map of India, what is the question? Identify the place marked as A with the help of following information that you have been given. Now the place where National Congress session was held in September 1920. September 1920 session is important. Why is it important? Please tell me in the chat box. Okay, and then I'll show you the answer to this question. The answer is Calcutta session, September 1920. That is the answer. Okay, that is how you locate it. Why is it important? Just let me know in the comment box. Now on the same given map, locate and label these two also. So first you have to give the location of Tarapur nuclear power plant, or you can give Kalpakkam nuclear power plant, and then you have to give Hyderabad Rajiv Gandhi International Airport. These two you have to give, any two here and this one, right? So again, the answer is over here on the screen. If you can see, this is the Tarapur nuclear power plant. If you have pointed out this one, you can leave this one. Okay, so Kalapakkam nuclear power plant is over here, and Hyderabad Rajiv Gandhi International Airport is over here. That will be the location. Is it clear? Anybody having any doubts, any questions? So that is how we have answered the map questions. I think map questions were also not difficult. That has been the trend of CBSE students, that one question is going to be from history and the other questions from other parts. So I think that is what has been followed over here also, and not that difficult questions. Now we have, students, the questions from section the set 2 also. So let us see which all questions were different and which all questions were similar in the set 2. Okay, let us have a look. Now first question was, why did Mahatma Gandhi travel to Champaran in Bihar in 1917? Again, this is the first question over there. This is a 2-marker question, students, and all of us are very well aware about the Indigo movement that he led over there in the Champaran in 1917. So that was the purpose of his movement. Okay, he led a movement for the cause of the indigo farmers in the Champaran region in Bihar, and that will be the answer. Okay, now coming to question 2, this is the exact same question that I have discussed, students, national highways. Now classify industries on the basis of source of raw materials. So what will be the answer? Agro-based and mineral-based industry, students, right? So that would be a different question that has been there in the set 2. Some of the questions are different, students, and some of the questions are similar. Okay, some questions are different and some are same. Right. Now, coming to how is one party system different from two party system? This was the same question that was already there in the set 3. So, I have explained the answer to that question. I will skip it therefore. Now, how do double coincidence of wants arise? This also we have explained. We have talked about the barter system and how does it happen, and therefore I'll skip this one also. Why did Mahatma Gandhi decide to withdraw the non-cooperation in February 1992? We have already discussed about the Chauri Chaura and the reason behind it, the violence that took place. That would be the answer. Those are the 2-3 points you can add. Then how did the First World War create a new economic situation in India? The same question again with the set 3, CMA set 3, right? So therefore I am saying not many questions were different, honestly. Only some questions, 2 questions before this and a few questions after this are going to be different. Most of the questions are same. So I have discussed those questions. Okay. Shivam is trying to say something. Shivam, Mahatma Gandhi's thoughts on Satyagraha. You want me to explain that? Yes, I'll quickly explain it. No worries about it. Now, Mahatma Gandhi's thoughts on Satyagraha. Are you asking this regarding the case study question that was there? If you're asking this regarding the case study question, that I've already discussed it previously. Okay. Okay. So if there is any additional question, then you can ask me. Okay, so First World War I, we have discussed, analyze the outcome of democracies in terms of economic growth and development. That is a very good question. This is a different question that has been asked over there, okay. And the answer to this question, students, is basically first when we discuss in this chapter, when we start understanding this chapter, we see that what are the outcomes, how democracy is seen as a system which actually is not very good for the economic development and which is not very good for the economic growth, but then what are the other perks of the democratic system, right? So we have to analyze the outcomes. That is what we have to do. So we can mention the both parts and we can answer this question. Now explain 3 important terms of credit. Again the same question, students, that I have already discussed. So I'll skip this also, right? And then we have students examine any 5 major challenges faced by political parties in India. So as you know, the same question as set 3. So again I am going to skip the answer that I have given already is there. Now political parties play an important role in democratic countries. Same question, right? Then coming to the next question. How are markets transformed in the recent year? Explain with examples. That was a different question in the set 2. Right. So, we can write a number of points in this. If you want, I can give some points over here, right. Then the coming question, students, how do multinational cooperation interlink production across countries? Explain with examples. Okay. So, MNC's role, this part is also little related to the globalization question that was asked. Do you remember I had explained, right? So this is related to that. MNCs, we are asking about how they interlink the production across different countries, which is happening due to globalization. So we can explain with several examples. Then question number 11D, this is the same question and somebody was asking me about Satyagraha and the idea of Satyagraha, right? So this is the question, case study question that is there, which is the same question, okay? So I am not going to discuss it. Again, the case study over here is also the same. This is case study over the jute policy, the jute production in India. So we have already gone through it, right? We have already discussed the answer to this question also. Right? So I think the coming questions are going to be the same. So therefore 2-3 questions here and there, and that too students also from the same chapter, just framed in a different manner, that's all, and that is therefore, okay, map based question was also the same, right? Here also the same. Right. So this was a set 2 and set 3. If any of the questions that I am missing that was unique and different and you are looking for an answer for those questions in the set 1, then you can let me know, students, in the comment box. I can answer those questions right away, or you can write it over here and ask me. Right. So this is the paper that we had today and I hope most of you did really well. I hope most of you did not face any big challenges in this particular paper, students, because to be honest, it was a really good paper, interesting paper and a simple one. Okay, and we have understood how answers can be written. You don't have to compare the exact lines which I have told you, just the important points, just the keywords. That's all that matters, students, in the social sciences. And of course your presentation skills, right? When we had discussed that how to write answers, there we had talked about several things that we can do in answer writing, highlighting our important points, writing in pointers, underlining our important words and key terms. So all of that I hope all of us have done, and there is no challenge over there, right? So this was the paper that was there. Let me know if any questions are missing, please. Anyone? Okay. So we have discussed, I think, a lot of questions, and I have told you the answers also. I hope it is all clear and there are no further questions. All right? Okay. Great. So if you have any queries, you can feel free to reach out to the toll-free number of Extramarks students. Thank you so much for joining the session, and then we'll be seeing you very, very soon, in some other session, in the next session. Till then, everybody take care. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoyed the YouTube live today. Thank you.